Charles W. Hall, and I was born June 30, 1930. Born in Dallas, Texas, and then moved to Houston. And moved here in 1957. The medical center has a special place for me. I had done a lot of legal work for the medical center starting right after I arrived in Houston. So I knew a lot about the medical center, and I was vaguely aware there was an M.D. Anderson Foundation. Yeah, when M.D. Anderson died, and I think it was 39, he was childless, and he had had Mr. Freeman, before he died, create the foundation. And when Anderson died, then the foundation inherited his estate, and Freeman Bates and the doctor, whose name I can't say, but became trustees, with the doctor substituting to take Anderson's place. Some foundations are deliberately created to give away all their money and die, but this one is created to go on forever. And I would guess most foundations I've dealt with go on forever. We did charitable works, and we emphasized medical. We did educational, medical, human welfare, and what have you. Foundation was formed. Anderson died. And then, and part of the story, is the trustees were deciding what to do in the way of charitable giving, and the legislature had this idea of creating a cancer hospital. Yeah. And Mr. Freeman and Colonel Bates went to Austin and said, we'll give you we'll match what the legislature does if you put it in Houston and call it M.D. Anderson Cancer Center. So they came along, and I'm repeating the history, but they wanted to put the hospital in Houston. They said, we need land, and so they found the land, and then they got them to come, and they figured out we need some kind of organization, and they dreamed up the medical center. I mean, the Texas Medical Center has members of some 61, all the institutions in the medical center, and then adjacent institutions like Rice and University of Houston and what have you. Starting about 10 years ago, they started doing so much more. They started doing research. They started doing innovation. They focused on collaboration. Well, the expansion has been unparalleled. Every major institution out there building new buildings. The medical center has acquired new land, and then the medical center has tried to facilitate these programs of cooperation and innovation and research, and things like going international. They've got a bio-bridge program trying to connect with people in Denmark and England and Australia and several other countries. They call it a bio-bridge. And that's a high-level summary of it. The Helix Center is 34 acres on the kind of the northeast part of the campus, where the design is a helix, and on each side of the helix are the institutions like Anderson and Baylor and Methodist are putting up buildings for research and what have you, and we're putting up a hotel at one end. The medical center corporation offices are moving there, and then they'll have common areas, kind of a new center where people can come. They can stay at the hotel, they can hold meetings. The research is right, they're right there together. And they will say they've always cooperated on research, but it's to bring that closer, because we are a conglomerate. Their medical center doesn't run anything. Methodist and Anderson and Baylor and Children's run their own shows. But the idea was to facilitate their being together, because we have so many patients there. There's hardly any place else in the world, for example, where you can research X thousand patients and keep track of what they're doing and have records on it. I just kind of put two and two together, picked up that book, thought about it, and I mentioned to our board that first 70 years was wonderful, but there's a whole new story in the last 10 years, and this thing is badly out of date. so much has happened, so much building, COVID, the new concept of Medical Center Inc. under Billy McKeon. Bobby Robbins came up with a concept, and he left, and Bill McKeon has carried it out and carried it out beautifully. He's, I think, extraordinarily well suited to lead something like that. He's personable, he's got a vision, he's dynamic, he gets things done. And it is the largest employer in Harris County. It's supposedly the biggest medical complex in the world. And in so many parts, one of the world's leaders. You know, the first one you think of is Anderson. That's one of, if not the world leader in cancer, it's one of them. I would just like people to realize what a giant benefit we have out there. And it's not perfect, but there are a few other things like that in the world, and we happen to have it right here in Houston, Texas.